Hi, Vanessa. Thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. This is our second go around, and so we're basically best friends now.
After all the trauma we've gone through, we trauma bonded.
Absolutely. How are you doing? You look great, by the way.
Thank you. So do you. I love your necklace.
Thanks. I literally bought this in service of you. Like when I was first decided to write the Daisy De La Hoya episode, you always wore those big hearts. And I looked everywhere until I found the right one. And then I ordered it. So I did get it for you.
That's amazing. Yeah, those necklaces were courtesy of a person named Trina Tarantina.
Oh, wow. Trina Tarantina.
Yeah, she made these beautiful, not for me, or maybe she did. Well, she made jewelry in general, and I loved those pieces, but unfortunately, that was like 15 years ago, so I lost a lot of those pieces, and they were so cool.
They're so cool. I love them so much. Yeah, you had some great ones. That's good to know.
Yeah, she's a great artist. I hope she's still out there working.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into it for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to, ask you some questions. I'm curious to know, I've spent a lot of time rewatching Rock of Love, rewatching Daisy of Love. I watched them in real time when they were on. And I had so much fun rewatching it. And I rewatched like way more than just one time through, But
I'm sorry about that.
No, don't be. So I have lots of opinions, but I want to know what it was like when you were going through it, and like what the difference was on Rock of Love versus Daisy of Love, and just what it felt like.
The difference when I was going through it, it was an amazing experience, obviously. Mm-hmm. It was surreal. It was a bit, I don't know, so, it was like an out-of-body experience, but I guess I didn't really realize what was happening until it started getting like real, like when it was like suddenly it was like, I was just sort of there like do and just drinking, hanging out, doing my thing, and then all of a sudden it was like everybody, like, like Britney Spears says, like, all eyes on me. I was like, wait a minute, like, what's going on now? It's like why is everybody like ganging up on me all of a sudden? Yeah. And then it became like all of a sudden my like a can of worms like opened up, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, my life's a little weird. And then it got like really like dramatic, and I was like, oh no, like like wait a minute, this isn't supposed to hurt.
Right. You didn't expect the kind of scrutiny that you got.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, everybody's kind of act up here. What? Like, why am I getting the punishment or whatever? I thought we were having fun. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, I don't know, it was interesting, and it was interesting at that, but
And then when you got Daisy of Love, like what were your feelings? Like, I'm curious, what was it like recording that first episode? Which, by the way, I love the first episode so much because of the what are they called? They're called crazy straws. The twirly pink straw you have.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny. Like, I remember, that was a funny night because, like, the behind the scene thing, like, there was just really in the room. There was the area where there was like a back area where this like, the bubble, you saw the bubble bath area. Yeah. And there was this lovely PA that I love. Shout out to Mira. And one night I was like, I want some crazy straw to drink my champagne out of. And then they did that. I was like, no!
I love it. I fucking love it. It's great.
Yeah, it was like magical land that moment, it was like within reason. So I really love the producers. They were so amazing. That was like one of the most magical moments of my life, like how cute.
I felt like that watching it. I love that moment with the straw. It just is everything. It's so great.
Like, how funny, like, can I get a crazy straw? And they're like, sure. And I'm like, really? And they're like, let's get her some crazy straws. It was like how funny. I was just like in the spur of the moment.
Oh, I'm so happy I asked about that specifically because I love that.
That's how it happened. I was just like in the spur of the moment.
That's so cool. Okay, so another thing that I want to ask you about that we have in common is we're both from Colorado. I left home when I was 14. Yeah. I was born in Fort Collins.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. and I left home when I was 14 and you left home when you were 15. Right?
Yes. Okay.
15?
So I wanted to read your amazing like script. That was, I finally had the chance to read because I was like always falling asleep because I was like always having like tons of stuff to do. And I finally was able to read through this thing. And that was brilliant. Very well accurate. It was really on point. Thank you. And so now that I know what the heck we're kind of talking about more. Before I was like, thank you. And I had no idea you were from Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know if I even put that in. Yeah, I don't even think I put it in there. But yeah,
you did not. So now we are just like obviously spirit animals, sisters.
I know.
No wonder why we like gravitated towards each other, like through the spiritual realm of like God or goddesses, spirit animal things or something.
Wow, I know, it's so true. Isn't that wild?
Oh my gosh. This is like a God sent or something. So weird.
I feel the same. I really do. Like you have no idea. So I want to know like what it was like, not so much leading up to you deciding to leave, because that's, your business, but like what your experience was like once you left, how it felt like did you feel free or did you feel like, what was that like your teenage years after you left home?
For me personally, I was stoked as heck. I had been wanting to like leave home for a while. I was constantly like threatening to run away. And, I was just like, I was ready to leave home. Like when I came out of the womb, I was like, get out of this place. Not really though.
Right.
Like my mom was my hero when I was like 5 years old. I thought my mom was the most beautiful princess. Like, everyone was like, my mom had me when she was 17. So my mom was, she wasn't very beautiful. She was a beautiful, young girl, woman, she was, hot to trot and like, whatever. And she was, she was wild, and she was just naturally like, beautiful. And so all the other moms, when she would drop me off at like kindergarten or whatever, she was really young. And all the other moms were like, dumpy soccer moms. No offense to them. No offense to anyone now. Right. But back in those days, everyone was like, is that your mom? I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. Because, you adore your mom, or you're supposed to. So my mom was like, everything to me at that age, at like 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever. That was like my mom. She was cool to me, She was a good mom at that point to me. She was, we went to the park every day. We fed the ducks, She was, she loved animals. She was very smart, I thought, She was strong. She was, she was feisty. She didn't put up with any poop. And, and dudes loved her. She wasn't like a hooer. She was, but she was like a tomboy, but she was like a dude's kind of girl or whatever you would say. She loved, she was a fan favorite of like the gays, and like, and she was tough and she was spicy and she had two, she came from a big family, so whatever. But then, she had, this guy, my stepdad, Chad. But then they would always fight and, and he would use me as a scapegoat. And, I thought that was my dad and like whatnot. But, and then she would just like, kind of like let him, he'd be like, don't look what you're doing to Vanessa. And I'm like 5 and I'm just like, I'm just trying to sleep. Like why are you guys gonna put me in the middle of this crap? And, you know, my mom she just sits there because she's like, well, my daughter's not going to fall for that bull crap anyways. You know, go ahead and try it. You know, that's my daughter. You know, you're not going to try to get in the middle of me and my daughter. But I'd be like, I don't know. You guys work it out. So, you know, yeah. And I was already like grown by the time I was like 3. So I was just like, I don't know. But so I was, you know, the family was turbulent, very much so. You know, it just got worse and worse and crazy. And then so by the time I was like, you know, I tried to emancipate myself when I was like 14 or something. But the judge was like, you know, on my waitressing job, he was like, I don't really think so.
Right.
And
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, he was like, you know, you obviously seem competent, but you're not obviously going to be supporting yourself on your, you know, there was just no like grounds and means to support. Right. You have to be capable of supporting yourself. And my mom was just like, you know, I don't know what you think you're doing, but so anyways, so I had to go with her in the divorce. Obviously, the day that they got divorced, I think I was like 14, and I was just like, wow, yes, because it was such a miserable life.
Yeah,
you know,
stepdad sounds like an asshole.
I mean, he was and he wasn't, but it was just, you know, it was an awkward, you know, kind of thing. There was like some weird, to me, sometimes sexual weird attention. I don't know. Anyways, but, you know, we're fighting over toothpaste. You know, I'm like trying to take toothpaste. I'm 14, and when, you know, stepdad is like, you can't have the toothpaste. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't even have toothpaste now?
Right.
I was like, get me the F out of this situation. But I did learn a lot from him though too, because he mainly taught me how to sew. Your stepdad's
awesome.
Me. Yeah, I mean, your stepdad's teaching you things that your mom should teach you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of things that I learned from him that mom should have taught me, but stepdad ended up teaching me, you know, and I learned a lot of musical things from him. I learned a lot of, you know, a lot of things. So a lot of creativity, a lot of creative things I learned. I mean, I had them in my soul. Mom did not. So I don't know, maybe she was jealous because mom was a good homemaker-ish. They were both modern. They were, you know, they're in their, you know, they're like born in 65 and 64, so they're not like age gap or anything.
Significantly younger than my parents or most people our age's parents.
Yeah, so they, you know, they grew up with so I learned musical things from them, thank gosh. And then I learned how to fight and be mentally sick. But they didn't give up on each other, you know. They were like, you know, but they were like a modern like you know, Gen X kind of like whatever. So that was like, you know, anyways though, when I was like 14, 15, no, like 15, 16, I went with her, and you know, had been working since I was like 10 or whatever, but just not legally. And then I finally got my paycheck when I was like 14, and I had been working ever since then. But my mom was like, you have to pay rent and blah, blah. I'm like, I'm 16, 15 years old, Mom. I don't, you know. And I don't know, I guess I can see her point of view now, whatever, you know, but I'm just like in the middle of the night.
Right.
I mean, whatever, you know, I could have helped out, I guess. I don't know, you know, when I think about it in retrospect. But, you know, one night, you know, because we worked at the same place, you know, a taco house.
That's cute, actually. That's really
this little restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a cute thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like it was a family little owned thing by this little old white lady. She's from like Texas. Her name was Joyce, and she was very hardcore. Very hardcore. Actually, we have the same haircut now, Joyce. I'm thinking wow, she inspired me. She was from Texas, and she hired a lot of illegals. She was a very kind-hearted person. She would hire people like Salomon from Ecuador or something like that, from South Africa. She was very nice.
She sounds sweet.
She was a very kind lady. She was very kind-hearted, and it was a little family business. And then there was her stepdaughter, Darcy. They were very Christian. It was a family business. It was a small thing. So we had like my best friend, her mom, Karen, and Karen was cool. And then like one of my best friends, Christy, who became my best friend, and they were like super punk rock and like really cool. And they didn't really like my mom. They didn't really like my mom, but she had this boyfriend. His name was Tim, and Tim this is so like Jerry Springer. Tim had a son, and with Christy's sister. Sarah and Sarah's mom, it was like a total family thing. And so I worked there when I was like 14, started bussing tables, and then I was like a dishwasher and like whatever. And then my mom started having like a thing for Tim. Tim was younger, but not by much. She was like,
my God. But your mom was so young. I also forget how young she was.
No, but she was like in her late 30s, and Tim was like 28 or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyways, I'm like 14, and so one day she's at work with waitressing or some crap. I don't know. And I'm like, Tim, get me the F out of here. And I had a boyfriend. I just got this boyfriend. He was so hot. He was 21, and he was like really gothic and punk rock, and he was like a genius. So I was like in love. He was like Robert Smith, and like, I don't know, he was like super ultra gothic, and I was just like turning punk rock, like, you know, I was always like punk rock and ultra, like whatever. So I was like, and he was like, yeah, come move in with me. And I was like, because his parents like gave him this abandoned, like wrecked home, and he was Italian. Yeah, and all these runaway punk rockers would go there, and it was just like like condemned by the city,
right?
But I was like, I don't give a crap. Like, you know, I was like, okay, let's do this. You know, because I was, you know, my mom taught me how to like, you know, take care of myself in some ways.
Yeah.
I basically had an apartment by the time I was like 7, because they threw me in the basement and they're like, do some chores and just like stay down there. I'm like, okay.
So you were like well equipped. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was self-sufficient. You know, I knew how to do my own laundry, you know, at like 8. You know, do the laundry, do your chores, you know, stay in the basement and just be down there and be quiet. I'm like, okay. And so, you know, when in the middle of the night, I was like, hey, Tim, can you help me move out? Because he had a truck. And my mom was at work.
And he had a truck? This guy was hot.
He actually was kind of hot. He actually was hot. I was into him too. He was like, he kind of looked like a young Johnny Depp. But the only thing is that he had a little bit of a crystal meth problem too.
Oh well, that's kind of.
And nobody you know,
just a little.
nobody liked that though. You know, not my mom.
Nobody.
No, seriously, my mom didn't like it, you know, Sarah didn't like it. Everyone was pissed off at him, you know, but I kind of thought it was hot. I was like, hey, you know, but I didn't like it either. I wasn't doing, I mean, I was experiencing like LSD and stuff a couple times, but I was pretty much straight edge. But my mom was always accusing me of being on drugs because I was so crazy out there. She's like, I do like drugs. I'm like, I'm not, Mom, I'm just smart maybe, okay?
Right.
You
yeah,
know?
I'm just smart and I want to do my own thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this one time I did do, you know, LSD at Jason's house because he used to be like an ex. We'll call him, you know, he was a very smart kid. You know, he got caught up in bad stuff in high school, you know, but you know, there's a lot of punk rockers coming there and runaways and stuff. And he threw parties all the time, like whatever, you know, that's how we make money sometimes, you know, because he was out of fresh rescue. But so anyway, so one day my mom had to call Tim, like, so she's like, I don't know, he's on acid, I don't know what the hell she's doing, because I was freaking out, and she didn't know what to do. So she called Tim, and Tim had to explain to me, it's called rat poison. You're going to be fine. I'm like, why isn't it stopping?
Oh, you know, honey, that sounds horrible.
It was. And my mom's like, I don't know what this, I've always smoked pot. And so, yeah. So Jim had to be like the one to explain it. He's like, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Just calm.
How long did it take for you to feel better? Do you remember?
Yeah, it took like 3 days. And I had no idea because it was like 6 hits. Like my first time, it was like 6. I was like, I'm so cool. I want to be just like, you know, you. And I was like, I can do this. I've done this before. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
No,
so in the middle of the night, yeah, it was messed up. I don't know if you've ever, or anyone. I don't recommend that out there. I don't recommend it.
No, we are not. We're not suggesting that.
I do not. I'm sober. I do not support or suggest anyone ever. Please learn from me. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. This is like I went through and suffered the pain for you. I did it for you. I'm telling you, no bueno.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just like one day I was like, Tim, can you help me? Because he knew my mom was kind of like, he'd see, he loved my mom, but my mom, he like knew how crazy she can get sometimes. So he was like, she was feisty as heck. And, but he, he'd always bust his balls about the thing, and she didn't like that. And anyway, so in the middle of the night, he like helped me get my stuff, and I was just gone. And I like never, and I said, and I didn't let her know. I said, don't tell her who I am. I'm done. And he's like, okay, I understand. And we were like still friends. He took me to my first Cure concert.
Oh my gosh! How long after you left?
I don't know even because I had my own money and stuff. Like I was doing my own thing, and that was like my favorite band. And he took me to 9 Inch Nails, like for the first time. Yeah, we were like really good friends. Me and Tim. Tim was like super cool. Sorry, hi Tim. Shout out Tim. And and they actually ended up getting married in New York because that's where he wanted to go. Yeah, my mom's been married like a bunch of times. I've never been married. I can't.
I've never been married. I'm waiting for the proposal.
Will you marry me? So anyways, that was really cool.
Married. Oh my god.
We're getting married. On leap year, you're actually allowed as a woman to propose to a man. That's the only time a woman can propose to a man. Apparently, back in the days, that was the designated day that you could actually propose. The one day, which is actually my sobriety date, because that's the date that I like.
Oh my god, your sobriety date is leap year? That is like it's what is it? The 29th of February?
The 29th of February, and it was this year.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep, and I was head off in a hospital gurney, and I forgot to propose to somebody or anybody.
Well, listen, it's better. It's better. It's better. I think that's a really cool sobriety date too.
Yes.
That's like the coolest one you could get. I feel like that was
any date is really a cool sobriety date.
That's the truth. Any date is really the best. I agree 100%.
Anyway, sorry to ramble on about me. You have a sobriety date?
I actually don't have a date. I never recalled the date. I think it was sometime in 2010, but I don't have an actual date. It always hurt my feelings because when I went to NA, everybody had a date, and I never had a date. So I think I initially made one up, but I just don't remember. I literally don't remember, and I didn't know to keep track.
Yeah, well, when I first did that, I was like, "What's it?" Like, I didn't know about those things. I thought a sponsor was literally where you get a sponsor where they could give you free stuff.
Yeah, well, typically that is what, right?
That was when I first when my first time in rehab, I was like, "What's a sponsor? You get free stuff?" I had no idea about these things. That's why I had to go back. I was like, "Oh, that's a sponsor. Okay." I was like, "Never mind." Hence why I had to go back.
My first sponsor in NA, I don't remember her name, but she was she may have even been a Poison groupie, but she was some kind of groupie, and she was a dancer, and she had curly red hair, and I thought she was so cool, and so she became my sponsor. But she hated me, and it was horrible.
Oh, but yeah, mine did too.
Oh yeah, really?
She actually quit, and she was my first sponsor, and I loved her. I picked her. I wanted the toughest, I wanted an older person, Same.
And I wanted somebody who was old tough bitch, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, and I only just got her this year, and I was so excited. I was like, I found the perfect one. She's Gen X, and I was like her, and I loved her. I thought she was amazing. And then all my stuff was too crazy for her, and she literally quit. She quit.
Oh, that
I
cannot
was
be right.
sad. I was so sad.
That's so sad. That's a little bit traumatizing, honestly. I'm
It
so sorry.
was. No, it's fine. It was my fault. It
It
was my
probably
fault.
wasn't your fault.
It was. I was a
Um,
bad sponsee.
oh, well, and how
So
so?
I was just a lot. I had too much trauma. Like she's like, I put her back into it's like into her thing. I was like, I feel bad. Like I
Don't
apologize
don't
so.
feel bad. You just
No,
need
I
you need a
do.
tougher lady. You need a tougher lady.
Well, I was like, no, she was really good. And no, I feel so bad. Like honestly, and I haven't had one since
Oh.
because everyone's just like, nope, nope. I was like, can you sponsor me? No. So I was like, maybe I need a dude, and then they're like, no, you need a woman, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, you just need a tough bitch. Like you need somebody who's really, really not gonna be
I
like
know.
around by or even a lot of hard stuff because a lot of people have a lot of hard stuff.
Yeah, she was pretty tough. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I need the meanest nun ever in the whole world.
Oh, a nun actually is a great idea. I
The
feel like
biggest,
they're really good. I feel like that's a good
like
idea.
the meanest nun that you've ever met, like in the Catholic Church, like in Rome.
Yeah,
Like
you
who's
got to
like
go to Rome.
so evil. She's like, and you're like shaking it, and you're like, she's the one. Who does like exorcist, like who's like done like
That's what I was just
exorcism
gonna say. Is
and
like
stuff.
she was an extra in the original Exorcist. And
Yeah, she's like she worked with like literal exorcisms, and I'm like, that's the one. And you're just like, I'm like, yes, finally.
oh my God. Well, I hope that you can find somebody because I have a feeling that this was not your fault. And but I do remember the feeling of feeling like I was too much and nobody would be able to handle, my shit. And I just it's a really icky feeling. So I don't take that to heart if you can avoid it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it definitely was my fault. So I shout out to you. I'm still sorry. So I'll have to do.
Oh, well, the right person will come. I'm sure of it. Okay, so I want to know also about what your favorite quality in yourself is. And I know this is kind of a cheesy question, but like, what is it that you like the most about yourself, and how did you get that? Like, how did you get that quality? What in your life helped you cultivate it? What belief helped you, manifest it? Whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is a hard question because I don't like to be like, oh, I like my blue eyes. My dad got them from my dad.
It's not a bad one. That one works.
No, I don't. I don't. I think just all the pain and trauma, I guess, and I guess all that. I'm definitely a lot weirder and more like. I'm really, really extraordinarily sensitive, and I just keep getting more and more sensitive.
Yeah. God, I understand that.
And I don't know, so yeah, I just continuously have compassion for people still, and some people are like, how do you talk to all these people? And and oh yeah, so my whole life, I was really, really, really shy, and I still am, and so I could not talk to people at all, and especially when I was which is weird because people are like, well, how do you perform on stage or something, and I'm like, I
Right.
don't know, it's so weird. You're right. Because I have really bad anxiety and PTSD and stuff, and I now it's PTSD. It's went from
Right.
well, PTSD is different from anxiety and panic attacks, and I get them all the time, and it's really crazy now. If you met me, you'd be like, what the heck happened to you? Some people, because now I'm literally a crazy person, crazy. But I relate to so many people now.
Right.
Especially people on the streets, and people are don't, some people are stop talking to them, I'm like, I can't help it. Like, I used to like not like people when I was a kid. Like, I used to really just like, for lack of a better word, like hate them
Right.
a lot of times. Especially when I was like starting to get into my early like teens, I just like despise them. I could not stand them. I like had no patience for them. My God, I was just like, ugh. You know, and then especially when I was like in my like, you know, around 16, and that was it was like a secret in my head, you know, to only some people I told that to because I just like could not stand them. I just was like,
right.
You know, constantly just like, ugh. And then by the time I was like in, you know, 23 or like, you know, my like early 20s, 19, you know, then I was just like, I could not with people, you know, and I still couldn't express that out loud, you know, because, you know, I didn't want to like hurt people's feelings, but I thought like to myself, I was definitely better than you.
Right,
you know?
right.
You know, especially if you're a normal person. Like if you were a normal, like normal, normie, preppy, any sort of normality into you, I wanted to puke on your face.
Right. Your identity was about being separate. I get it. Yeah.
And it wasn't. I just could not. I just had no patience for you at all.
Mm-hmm,
you know, if you weren't like quick on the draw, like if you weren't fast, quick, if you didn't get it, I was just like, I can't deal with you. I would just freak out. And I just thought society norms were putrid.
mm-hmm.
I related to outside people more than I could relate to a normal person with a you know 5 kids. I definitely hated people with kids. I was just like,
Yeah.
You know, if you were blonde, no offense, Madeline.
Like, watch it.
if you were blonde, I hated your guts. You know, if you're blonde, I mean, I had friends in middle school though, because middle school's where like my 8th grade was basically like my 12th grade to me. You know, like
Right.
But
Same.
you know. Yeah, so I was friends with all the beautiful popular girls, like since I was in, you know, for 2nd grade. And these girls were like beautiful, talented. I mean, I grew up with like some of the most, to me in my head, I don't know about you. In my school, everyone was popularly talented, wicked smart, wicked funny, beautiful. It's like there was like a crop of like talented, like, I mean, all these people to me in my head, they grew up like, they must have grew up like being FBI agents and like supermodels. I mean, they were all wicked smart, talented, like geniuses to me. I don't know. That's just my group of kids that I grew up with. I don't know what other people grew up with, but to me, I'm like, these kids were all like geniuses. Not that I was or anything, but to me, I was just like, God, they were like the funniest, smartest, most beautiful kids I've ever met in my life. And anyways, though, these, you know, girls, you know, they were like, we were doing like the worst things possible that you could imagine. By the time we were like, you know, by the time we hit high school, we've already like, you know, did like everything.
Yeah.
You know, smoked, drank, like, you know, like we're like, what next can we do? You know, we're like, hope nobody's had a baby yet. Oops, too late. You know, but anyways, you know, that was, so when people are like, kids are so bad these days, I'm like, these days? I'm like,
Thank God we didn't have phones with cameras. Can you fucking imagine?
You know, I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, but I'm like, I think this has been going on for quite some time, people. Where have you been? You know, so I'm like, we need to advocate for this, you know, stopping this. Like, let's put an end to it finally. So yeah, anyways, I don't know where the heck I was going with that. Anyways, though, I had beautiful friends that were blondes and they were like gorgeous. I loved them. They were so pretty. But as I became older, I didn't, and they were, you know, they were like me. They were like, you know, but they weren't, I became like real on the outs of like society. I didn't want to be part of the government. I didn't want to vote. I didn't want to do anything. So anyways, yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, that was a squirrel, sorry.
No, I understand. I understand exactly what you mean. And you were saying that now that you feel like that perhaps one of the things that you're most proud of.
I'm like completely like, I have like so much compassion and empathy for like everybody. Like now, because now I have gone, I just see people as beautiful, every part of them. I can see the beauty in every single kind of person so easily. It's like so easy. And so I can't help but talk to like everybody. I can't help but talk to, I don't know, I could just see people and just like see their beauty, like homeless people, babies, like, butterflies. Today there was like a June bug, everyone's screaming. I'm like, hi, Steve. They're like, what? I'm like, his name's Steve. He just wants to be your friend.
I
People are
love
like,
that. I do that all the time with bugs, and everybody thinks I'm insane.
right. It's just
I
like
hope you tell Steve I
compassionate
say
energy.
hi.
Thank you. I will. I'll see him again tonight because he'll be back. I'm like, he touched me, but I was like, Steve. And then he like latched on real tight. I was like, Steve, you're clingy a little bit. I was like,
Take it
Steve.
down a notch, Steve.
I'm like, Steve, take it down a notch, okay, babe. We're not getting married just yet. I know it's love at first sight, but like, babe. So
He has to wait till the.
yeah. I'm like, babe, leave your dad for another 4 years. Yeah. So I just feel like.
So you feel like you're. Go ahead.
No, so I was just saying then, like I have this like, just utter love for people now. And also I'm excited because I can like talk to people now because, before, like, especially when I was on drugs, I could not connect with people to save my life.
Right.
And now I can just talk to everybody. And some of my friends get mad at me. Some of my friends are homeless and they get mad at me too. They're like, stop talking to everybody. Not everybody wants to be your friend. I'm like, I can't help it.
So what you're describing about kind of the empathy, like making you more, or the trauma that you experienced making you more empathetic to other people, is really interesting, and it's a really kind of wonderful experience to have and way to look at it. Because I know for me that when I first got sober, it kind of felt like I was like a baby in the middle of the street, abandoned, and everything was like so much. And all my feelings were so extreme. And from listening to you, it feels like you didn't get broken, you got cracked open kind of thing.
Yeah, it's you could easily be jaded in so many ways.
Yeah.
Community is really beautiful, connecting with people and just being there for each other and looking out for each other and being like, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that is really beautiful. And it's beautiful to hear you talk about it too, to be honest. It really is.
Yeah, I love these people here in San Diego, downtown San Diego. They're freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's a cool city too. Yeah. Okay, so on that same kind of train of thought, what would you leave to other women, other girls like you, like me, not like us, as a kind of a legacy, or like what would you tell people coming up in any situation that are women?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not the greatest role model. I aspire to be, and there's times that I've been better, suited me, or not better suited, but I strive to be a good leader or role model. If that's the case, I didn't, all my life I've wanted to be, not all my life, I suppose, but all my life I wanted to be an artist and someone creative. I didn't expect to be put in the position that I would be a leader or be some type of, icon or something like that.
You are.
So that, I don't think so. Like that's the thing. Not like I'm definitely like a messy cupcake or something. So I feel grateful for that people, give me positive support and have my back. And I think that that's important to do for other people as well. So I would say, please support others and don't drag them down. I think that that's lovely, support each other and try to lift people up rather than, be rude to them or like, maybe try to understand them rather than, be negative and in a competition with people because you don't know what they've been through in their life.
Right.
Helping people is really beautiful. you know, even if they, you know, and they might be having a bad day, they might be mentally ill, they might be hurt, you know, and they might look different than you, or they might smell, or who knows, but we can all be beautiful when we take a shower or whatever. Who knows? Even if we don't, we're all human. So that's what I would say. You know, and maybe, you know, whatever we want to do or be, you know, who knows? That's besides the point. We all have feelings. We all want to be loved.
Right.
You know, we all have dreams, hopefully. And if you don't have dreams, I don't know, who knows? Whatever it is, just be there for each other. You know, we all need that.
Okay, that's great. So the last thing that I want to ask you is about your life as a creative person, and kind of how it's changed, and how you feel about being an artist of whatever kind now.
Well, you know, as a kid, I talked a lot about, well, as a kid, I drew a lot. I liked to draw a lot when I was young. So my parents were always like, they were supportive of that. They were like, artist, you're a little artist, you draw. And that's why I spent a lot of time drawing. And, you know, I was nothing compared to like the boys that I went to school with. They were such good artists. And I would sit there and be like, look guys. I'd be like, look what I can draw. And they're like, cool, look what we can draw. And I'd be like, okay, cool. So I was always like the girl that, you know, would be like, look what I could do, guys, I could draw, or like play with skateboards or something like that. That was like sort of, you know, and so music has always been my sort of thing that I could do. I don't say like good or whatever, but just naturally that I could like sort of pick up and just do.
Right.
Because it was in my innately, I suppose. I'm not sure. Like it just came like really easy. I could find the melodies, find the whatever. So, you know, not really like a big deal. Like, you know, I'm not saying that I'm the best, but it was just something, you know, instinctually.
Natural.
Yeah. And, you know, I can always be better because I need to definitely learn how to like, you know, properly put things together and read the music and stuff like that. So I'm not the best musician compared to like skilled, trained classical artists, you know, musicians who, you know, spent their whole life learning, you know, those types of things, how to compose music. But those are real musicians to me. But one thing I always wanted.
But that doesn't mean you're not a real artist.
Well, you know, different strokes for different folks. I mean, the Beatles never really learned how to like, you know, read music and stuff like that. And that's, you know, it's all,
right.
You know, we all do our part, we all do our thing, we all have our places, whatever. But I like to say that I want to get better, or I have tried or strived to be more, you know, better, and I can always be better, of course. And that's what I want to do. And I'm happy that I've been have that chance to, and just keep working at that. And that's part of my dream, and I keep trying, even though there have been times when I've been like, you know what, I just want to be a normal person. I'm just going to go work a regular job, for Christ's sakes, instead of pretend like I'm going to do this artist thing. And I think that's just something that every artist or aspiring artist wants to try to do, like as if they're going to, you know, make billions of dollars. But I've never aspired to be like, I'm going to make billions of dollars and be really famous. It's just something that I like as a person who aspires to do art or who's artistic. You know, some people might agree that you don't necessarily always do that, or, you know, choose to do it because you feel like you're going to be rich and famous. It's just, you know, whether I work at Burger King or I work at
driven.
Yeah, it's just you have to do it because it's, you know, you do it because you get sad, or because you need it, or because you like to, or because it's just like, okay, today I'm going to dress like with this bow in my hair, and that's going to be my art thing. You know?
Right.
And then people are like, why do you dress so weird? Why can't you just be normal? And you're like, God made this way. Like, I asked myself that too. Why can't you just wear your Burger King outfit normal? I don't know. So there's always the outlet, you know, there's always the thing. Yeah. You know, why do you have to put that there? Well, for lots of reasons. Can't you just do your makeup like a normal human? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still really want to work, on that one dream that, I've been dreaming since I was a child, and that's, the acting. And people are saying, why can't you just be less dramatic? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to.
You still want to act.
It's something that's been my dream since I was like 9 months old. That's all I cared about. While my parents were off fighting, I was like pretending that I was, I was like, okay, that's great, but I already knew what I wanted to do. People are like, what did you want to be when you grow up? I was like, actress. I knew that since I was like 9 months old. That's when I had my first sort of like consciousness that, my consciousness. Some people become conscious when they're, their first memory is, I don't know how old. Some people have their first conscious memory. Some people, have their conscious memory before that.
Right.
The first thing my mind thought was, I want to be an actress. I don't know why I thought that. That was my thought. I don't know what other person's thought might have been like, I discovered plutonium or something. I don't know. My thought was like, I'm going to be an actress. So sorry about that. It wasn't my fault. It was like this photographer with me and my mom, and they were like, ooh, she's so cute, because I was actually they wanted me to be a Huggies baby when I was a baby, and my mom was like, no. My mom put a kibosh on it like right away. I was like, Mom. She told me this when I was like 5. She's like, well, they wanted you to be a Huggies baby, but I said no. I was like, but I know. I was like, thanks, Mom. And then they were sending me like stuff for like beauty pageants, and my mom was like, yeah, and I was like, she was like, well, do you want to do them? And I was like, well, what does it mean? And she's like, well, you'd have to wear dresses. And I didn't like to wear dresses because she always put me in dresses. And I was like, she's like, you don't like dresses, remember? And I was like, yeah, that's true. I don't like dresses. And I was like, fine. And I was like, I'll just go back to playing pretend in my bedroom. She's like, okay. I know. And I was like, now that I think about it, I was like, I mean, I don't like beauty pageants still to this day, but like my entire life, I seriously had like issues like about my looks, like not when I was like a really younger kid though, like when I was like 8 or 7 or something, I would just stare at myself like, it's so stupid. I was just like always looking in the mirror like, gosh, I'm so pretty. Like, but this was me by myself in the basement because everyone else was like, neglecting me or whatever, and I'd be like, I know it.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, you're like, I'm like, man, I'm going to go on there. But like, they don't have acting though. What am I going to do?
Yeah, they have to have an acting talent. That was the big flaw of Star Search. Okay, so I'm going to cut it there. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you spoke with me, Vanessa, and how wonderful it is for me personally to meet you and to see that everything that I've always thought about who you are and what you're like is absolutely the truth. And so thank you.
That is so sweet. That's like ridiculously too much. Come on. You're amazing. I love that you wore like a heart, like in honor of me. You're right. That is so cool. No, I want to learn more about you. That's so cool.
Well, you and I are going to stay in touch 100%, obviously.
Yes. Thank you. I love the stuff that you wrote. That is like, I was like, wow, I don't just like, that's amazing. Like you got a lot of stuff like spot on. And I was like, wow,
Really? That makes me really happy. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm like stuff that I didn't even realize that it was like going on, like that you like picked. Like, wow, thank you. Like, I'm like, wow, you weren't like gonna hurt me.
I think you're great. And this is a wonderful experience for me. And I'm just really grateful. So thank you so much.